conversation a little bit to understand your point of view on some challenges. Clients we talked to in our for our 2022 Forrester Wave evaluation process for marketing measurement and optimization solution indicated that a specific challenge for marketing measurement adoption is stakeholder buy-in. Now, this was really interesting to me because we talk to CMOs all the time, and they always say, "Hey, we are data driven," but according to our data, we're hearing, hey, it's really hard to get stakeholders to get consensus and confidence in a lot of these analytical models. I want to explore some best practices across our panelists and what are some best practices that our panelists have used to secure adoption and confidence of their unified marketing measurement approach. So John, I'm going to start with you at PayPal. You've had several senior analytics roles across other industries, including telco and QSR, according to my research to prep for this call. I did a little digging on LinkedIn. So what are some of the universal best practices that you can share with us in gaining confidence and consensus among your peers if you're kind of building this very sophisticated unified measurement model? And how do those best practices change if you have different organizational structures?
Yeah, look, I mean, this could probably be a subject of its own webinar. And, I'll admit openly a lot of failures along the way on my learning journey. And I think it's probably, I probably have tried to overcomplicate it too much in the past. And so I've pivoted pretty hard over the last few years. But I think one observation, and regardless of whether it's marketing measurement or any other analytic data product, it's not a field of dreams, meaning if you build it, they will not necessarily come. And I think Doug talked a lot about the change management and his opening, and I could not underscore the importance of that and how you think about bringing people along on the journey for adopting these new tools and capabilities. It's not about having the best AI or machine learning or the smartest attribution model. No one cares. It's about actually having the empathy and understanding of what the marketer is trying to do and deeply immersing into those needs. And frankly, even just showing that you're willing to roll up your sleeve and partner on how you can use data to evolve the strategy in being really viewed as a credible thought partner and not someone who's trying to keep score of how marketing's doing and saying, well, like you guys really suck here, or this was really bad. No, it's not about that. It's about creating a culture where of empathy and understanding and looking at what the data is telling you and how you can evolve those learnings, not just from a dashboard or report where you share out how everything was working, but you actually have a seat at the table and you're making recommendations based on what the data is saying. I think that is a high degree of credibility that a lot of times you see missing in organizations, analytic organizations, where it's more, well, here's what we observed, here's the dashboard, you can go check it out. And that model never works. And so there's a lot here just around mindset. I think that's a big part of it. And then the other is just as you think about capabilities within your team, my other learning or aha is the idea of these analytic strategists. So folks that can partner closely with a marketing organization, and they're going to be, again, a seat at the table, and they can help really with the change management and how you start to create a roadmap for how you can evolve the learnings and the tools that are being stood up, and really start to test and learn into that. Because my other observation is, and again, back to the field of dreams comment, if you just drop a new capability or tool on someone who's been doing a certain job for a certain way for years, chances are that they're not going to immediately or organically gravitate to it because they've already got a full plate and 8 or 10 hours a day are already trying to scrape by in terms of what they're already doing. So you have to be very intentional about the change management, how you bring people on that journey. I think that's probably, again, in some ways, that capability or that mindset is probably more important than than the tool itself. And so I think you've got to find the right people in your analytics organization who can help with that. And that's not an organic skill set that comes from a data scientist or statistician.
I was on mute, sorry. I completely agree. Now, Mike, you mentioned at Gilead, you have to coordinate between marketing and sales team to gain confidence and support of your marketing measurement and optimization models. I know at Forrester, as an analyst, I often talk to similar industries like insurance, where they have the same problem. They have to coordinate between marketing and agent teams to kind of ensure marketing efforts are being used and tracked. So what are some best practices for adoption of like a unified measurement model across these different functional groups?
Yeah, I mean, I think that one of the great opportunities of unified measurement and marketing mix is also the greatest challenge, right? That it's not a single stakeholder that you need to get on board. These are comprehensive models that span as many channels as you can have data for. And what that means is that there's something in it for everyone, right? Whether that's your sales leadership or your physician promotion team or your patient promotion team, they each have a stake in those insights and the results that we bring forward to the executive team. And as a result, you need to work intimately with each of those functional groups to really educate them on the methodology, get their buy-in, get that credibility built that John was talking about, really collaborating with them, right? So that they're in it with you. They feel ownership. You source their data, you understand their key business questions, you understand what they're trying to accomplish and what they're trying to get out of this readout, right? It's not just a grade, you scored an A or a B or a C. It's, this is where you did well. This is recommendations for improvement. This is what you were trying to achieve. This is where you did or did not, and how you could, really work with them to understand where these models can play in terms of serving them, in terms of giving them a path forward. And so they're getting something out of it as well as you are. And we found success by ensuring that we're not just including folks at the leadership level, right? We actually want to get down and dirty with the product managers, with the agency partners, so that we can establish that credibility and establish that collaborative relationship to really help those diverse functional groups feel this sense of shared ownership over the outcome of the analytics. And as a result, the insights, right? At that point, it becomes an organic extension that they're going to take those insights and run with it. You don't need to force that upon them, right? They were there building it with you, and they were the ones asking the questions. So when you help provide the answers, they're going to take it and run. And I think, finally, for those of us that have multiple product areas that we're supporting, really find one that you feel like you have a high probability of success with. Establish that, that relationship, really nail it, and then leverage that relationship across other product areas as well, right? Use that as a shared experience, to really bring others on board.
Great. And Sean, can you give us, if you could give one best practice to people attending on how to build a confidence and acceptance of your unified measurement model within the C-suite, specifically with the CFO team, what would it be? What would be that one best practice?
I have to do one. It's just a couple comments, because I thought John and Mike both made some great comments. I think that, John, one thing that I just want to echo is just a culture of learning and being data driven is just critical for your company to embrace. And the more that starts at the top, the better. We've been on that journey and are much more of a culture of letting data inform our decisions than we were several years ago. So I wanted to reinforce that. A culture of learning and putting the data at the center is critical. And Mike also mentioned enrolling others in the process of developing your marketing mix model. We've found success in that as well. We operate in a number of regional divisions, and collaborating with our division teams to make sure that the data that we have for what's going on in their market is accurate is critical, because garbage in, garbage out is the easiest way to get your model thrown out the window when you're trying to enroll stakeholders. So my two additional tips for enrolling your Well, and just confidence in a marketing mix model and return on investment is like the most important thing a marketing leader needs to do. If you don't have that, you don't have anything. And if you don't have a data source and a proper measurement methodology that gets you there, you're starting from a really shaky foundation. And I found that your finance team is one of the most important partners in this. And one of my tips for working with the finance team is it's about, roll up your sleeves, education and persistence of, running through it in whatever detail is needed, because a lot of people don't understand the very complex methodologies for marketing mix modeling and regression-based analysis. Your finance teams are the most likely to get it, but they still will need to roll up their sleeves and really understand it. So you just need to take that time and do it over and over and over again until people can give input and feedback and feel like they fully understand the process. So that's one. The second thing I would suggest is doing test and control experiments and showing impact, and then connecting that with impact from your marketing mix model as well. People really can sink their teeth into test and control experiments, and it's a really great validator of what you're seeing in your marketing mix model.